Have you ever wondered what could have happened if WWE had made just a few different choices during its golden era? Stick around as we uncover the 10 biggest missed opportunities that could have changed wrestling history forever. It's always easy to look back at wrestling's past and gauge the number of missed opportunities, with hindsight being 2020 and all that. While some can be excused due to circumstances beyond the control of the promoters, others are absolute facepalm moments. For WWE in the 1980s, scores of guys who were meant for bigger stuff were harmed by injuries or other problems, namely not being a huge roided up monster with bleach blonde moustache and a rippable shirt. You could argue Roddy Piper as WWE champion was a huge missed opportunity. However, Piper's refusal to cleanly job might have been a factor in him not winning the belt. Likewise, Jake Roberts' numerous issues are why he never got a championship run. Also, with his DDT getting too over with the fans. That's right, a move got too over and it cost someone their push. However, it is amazing to see how many times during this period between 1984 and 1992, plus or minus a year here or there, WWE had every chance to do something with a star or run a program and they chose not to. That several of them were what fans wanted and would have been huge money makers is even more amazing. While there are plenty could have been moments, these rank as the most amazing missed opportunities for WWE in the golden era, and makes one wonder what could have been. Welcome to Honor Wrestling Club, and today's video we are looking at the 10 biggest missed opportunities of WWE's golden era. Before we begin though, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to like and subscribe to Honor Wrestling Club. It really means a lot to us and it really helps out the channel, and it costs you nothing, so do it. Do it, you coward. Thank you, I love you, bye. Welcome to the club. In at number 10, we have the women's division that was sorely underused, as WWE had a better shot with women here than they did following this era. For one brief moment in 1985, women's wrestling was hotter than it had been in years. Wendy Richter, for one, looked on the verge of becoming a female version of Hulk Hogan. She was getting media attention, thanks to the inclusion of pop icon Cyndi Lauper, and seemingly had the backing of the board, only to be subjected to an infamous original screw job that robbed her of the belt for the horrific crime of asking to be paid more, closer to what the top male stars are making. And obviously, at that point, you've just got to go, don't you? WWE still had talent there though after Richter left, with the likes of Sherry Martel, and even had a women's tag team title at this point. They were mostly held by the Glamour Girls, who were rubbish, although they did have the Jumping Bomb Angels, who were excellent. But the company failed to utilise it even with the interest in women's wrestling. They barely gave women TV time and arguably setting the women's wrestling scene back years rather than being able to boost it like the rest of the company, especially once the belt ended back around the waist of the fabulous Moolah. In number 9, we have a secondary tag team title that would have fit scores of teams who would have benefited. 1985 to 1992 is arguably the most packed time ever for WWE's tag team division. You can make an argument for the Attitude Era, and honestly, you wouldn't really be wrong. However, this era definitely had the most tag teams with deep, fleshed out characters. Even better, these weren't ad hoc teams like was all the rage in the 2010s, but fantastic units, the likes of the British Bulldogs, the Hart Foundation, the Killer Bees, Demolition, the fabulous Rougeau Brothers, the Rockers, and so many more. The division was so flush that some magazines pushed that WWE had to create a secondary tag team title, such as the US belts that were used over in WCW, or the plethora of tag team belts that various Japanese companies were using. It's a bit surprising looking back, to be honest, that they didn't even try it, as there were so many talented teams that deserved to have some sort of gold. It would have been fun for the house shows, seeing a secondary tag title defended, and sparked some feuds on programs. It would have died out in the early 90s, like the US tag titles did in WCW, but double titles would have worked better here than today. Although under Triple H, the two tag team titles have been pretty damn enjoyable, and since they've been separated, they have both been booked pretty well. In number 8, we have Owen Hart, who should and could have been a star earlier, as it was years before WWE gave him a legitimate shot. Some future stars weren't quite ready early on in their careers and are hurt by being pushed too quickly. Look at Bobby Lashley in 2000s. Owen Hart, however, is a different case. From his rookie year, this guy was clearly capable of being a top star, if probably more talented than Bret in terms of proper technical wrestling, although Bret is the much better psychologist. But back to Owen here. With his stunning high-flying skills, and already being pretty good on the mic, he could have been a huge star right away. Bret clearly wanted him to succeed in WWE, as he threatened to quit in 1993 and stayed as he got to work with his brother, although his start as the masked Blue Blazer did hamper him quite a bit. Yet Owen was capable of showing better stuff, as he did in tag teams with runs with Coco Beware and others, although the state of those tights might have hampered his ability to get over with the fans. But Owen clearly just needed the right push to truly take off. Maybe teaming with Bret and Neidhart more would have given him a rub, and even arguably he could have got an IC title run, as Owen was a guy ready for stardom from the start, and yet it took years for WWE to recognise this. And speaking of people WWE massively underutilised, in at number 7 we have Bam Bam Bigelow, who WWE failed to use right, and he could have and should have been a much bigger star. At least Owen got the push in the end. Bam Bam, on the other hand, got nothing. Few guys got attention from the fans from his debut like Bam Bam Bigelow. It's obvious why, as he looked awesome with the bald head tattooed with flames. Bigelow was also highly skilled, as back then you did not see a guy his size throwing drop kicks or flying from the top rope with a pretty damn good moonsault. Hence, this is a huge part of why his WWE run in 1987 was such a letdown. Let's start off with the positives first. He was the sole survivor for his team at Survivor Series and managed to go from 3 versus 1 to ending up at 1v1 against the top heel at the time in Andre the Giant. However, there were a few weird decisions that really hurt Bam Bam's potential. First was having him enter as a babyface was a tricky decision, as the guy looked like a monster heel. I mean, just look at him. Look at him! He also suffered from poor booking and feuds, never being given the chance to take off like he should have, and was given a lame manager in Oliver Humperdinck, and that did not help things whatsoever. Bigelow would not last long when WWE could have given him a much hotter start for his career, and possibly had another main event heel on their hands. In number 6, we have the Rockers, who should have been tag team champions. I mean, how did WWE never give these guys the belts? Now, technically, they did give them the belt. It's quite a famous story now, as in 1990 the Rockers won the tag team titles from the Hart Foundation on Saturday night's main event. However, due to a broken rope, the match was never aired and the title change was therefore ignored. This is what is known as in the business as a phantom title change, and we've made a video ranking the best phantom title changes, and you can check that one out once you finish this one in the video description down below. Go and watch it now once you finish this one, obviously. Back to this video though. The fact that WWE never tried the match again, with the Rockers winning the titles legitimately this time, made little sense given how much they deserve the titles. It's not just then, as it can be argued the Rockers should have won the titles instead of the Hearts at SummerSlam 1990, and even had a short reign in 1991. It's just amazing one of the best and most innovative teams of their time never got their due as champs, when fans would have popped huge for them on top as the tag team ranks. Also, hot take here, in the Rockers, Marty Jannetty is the better wrestler. In number 5, we have Andre and Bruno Sammartino, who were supposed to have a feud, and this could have gotten Andre over even more as a heel. This was proposed and would have been a pretty unique turn on a really already great feud. When Andre the Giant made his epic heel turn in early 1987 on Piper's Pit, WWE did well pushing him as this unstoppable monster. According to various rumours, a proposed plan would have seen Bruno Sammartino coming out of his semi-retirement to face Andre the Giant. Andre would have beaten Bruno down, and it would have been a big deal, with Andre bragging that he had already crushed one legendary WWE champion, and he would do the same to the Hulkster. It also would have let Bruno give Andre more of a rub, sort of helping pass the torch from Bruno to the Hulkster. It never came to pass, yet this could have helped elevate Andre to bigger than before WrestleMania 3. Granted, it didn't really need the assistance, with an alleged 93,000 in the stadium that night, and it made bank at the box office, but it could have been just that little bit better. Probably wouldn't have helped the match quality though, which is dreadful, but hey, at least you got that slam. In number 4, we have Missy Hyatt, who should have been a mainstay, as if the Attitude Era is to go by, the popular blonde could have shone. In her time, Missy Hyatt was simply the hottest woman in wrestling. That's not just on looks. The woman was a heat magnet, able to play the wicked vixen on TV, managing real-life Lud Eddie Gilbert, and she even tried to handle some commentary. In 1987, WWE tried her out for a little bit, including giving her an interview segment. It wouldn't work out, unfortunately, with Missy quitting after being offered the role of basically a ring girl. Given her great charisma that she was able to show in WCW and the lack of ladies in the company at the time, Missy could have been a fun shot in the arm for broadcasts, either as an interviewer or as on commentary. She could have been Sunny before Sunny, and remarkably, WWE somehow missed the boat on her. In number 3, we have Jim Duggan and Ted DiBiase, who never reunited, and it never felt so good. And the pair would have been fabulous frenemies. This may seem a bit offbeat, but in the late 1980s, WWE had a chance to reunite two guys who had proven they could work together. In the Mid-South territory, Ted DiBiase and Jim Duggan had been fantastic as the Rat Pack, running roughshod over heels. DiBiase turned on Duggan, which led to a fantastic feud, culminating in a wild cage match. So, with both in WWE at the same time, it was right there to put them back together. But aside from facing off at WrestleMania 4's title tournament, the pair never really interacted together. The story was there, the common man Jim Duggan versus the rich millionaire Ted DiBiase. Ha 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 ha. And both knew how to work with one another. It's remarkable how WWE couldn't see the potential of reviving the programme for a wider audience, especially given the popularity of Duggan and the heat that Ted was capable of drawing. It could have been a huge as a semi-main event on, say, WrestleMania 5, and it gives that card anything else other than the Mega Powers exploding. In number 2, we have the denial of Hogan Warrior 2 Electric Boogaloo, as this would have been better in 1991 as opposed to the dreadful match we got in 1998. Given the love of rematches at WrestleMania in the last several years, with the back-to-back matches of Cody vs Roman, which were both excellent by the way, WWE never delivering one of the biggest matches of all time is mind-blowing. Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior had a fantastic battle at WrestleMania 6, with the Warrior winning the belt clean, even if the reign wasn't as good as he'd hoped for, with Warrior struggling to draw and being the successor to the Hulkster. Still, having them go at it in another main event was a match many wanted to see. Granted, it would have likely just been to give Hogan his win back. However, this would have done far better for business than what they actually booked for WrestleMania 7 of Hogan vs Slaughter, which drew so badly it resulted in an arena change from the 100,000-seater Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum to the much smaller Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, owing to alleged bomb threats, but was actually as not a single soul cared about the Iraqi sympathiser storyline. The only shining light from the switch made at the Rumble was that we got one of the most sports entertaining matches ever with the incredible Warrior Savage retirement match. If Pat Patterson had been doing the booking, we'd have gotten a much better sequel than their WCW disaster. And we're sticking with the Hulkster, as in at number 1 we have the fact that Hogan vs Flair should have main evented WrestleMania 8. And this is a rare positive for WCW. It's rare that you can just say WCW succeeded where WWE failed. However, it is absolutely unfreaking deniable that the company handled Hogan vs Flair a lot better. Vince was given the greatest dream feud in wrestling history on a silver platter after professional crayoning to Jim Herd had fired Flair, and he'd gone to the competition declaring himself the real world champion. You could do Flair vs Hogan, champion versus champion, and WWE somehow bungled it. The matches were wasted on non-televised house shows, and this may have helped with local businesses, but not the Clash fans had long waited. The running of these shows underperformed and gave Vince cold feet about running it in the main event. This bungling could have changed if WrestleMania 8 had been the main event everybody wanted to see. Hogan and Flair for the belt, or at the very least Flair vs Savage in their super personal rivalry. Of course, Hogan was going to be leaving owing to the heating up steroid trial, and given he was sort of Admiral Steroid after his disastrous appearance on the Arsenio Hall show. So giving him the title didn't work, and him jobbing at the big show wouldn't either. So he got swapped around, and the main event somehow ended up being Hogan vs Sid, that ended in a botched blooming DQ and a mistimed running, and was terrible, and Flair was left to steal the show in the middle of the card. At least WCW made the most of the opportunity WWE missed out on, during one of the biggest box office numbers in WCW history. But what could have been, hindsight 2020 and all that rubbish. And there you have it, there's all this. So what did you think? What would you say is the biggest missed opportunity of WWE's golden era of wrestling? Do you disagree with what we've chosen here? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to click the thumbs up button, the subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss out on any of the content we produce here at Honor Wrestling Club. So I just had to say that's all for now. So I'd like to thank you for watching and welcome you to the club. See ya!